I will be doing a quick tank review for the Swedish TO6 TD, the IKV 65 Alt 2. The vehicle for its tier, when you are playing it, it is not that great nor bad, just like the predecessor before it. As long as you play toward the vehicle's strengths, weaknesses, and use the appropriate tactics, you can do quite well in the IKV 6502. Let's get into the vehicle stats themselves. Let's begin off with the firepower. The top gun you will be using, it's a pretty good 9cm gun. The 9cm Bofors L53 gun. This gun fires about 7 rounds per a minute with a good crew and equipment setup. The penetration value, it is pretty good. 180 for regular AP, 230 for heat. So you can penetrate most of the enemy tanks easily enough if you know where to aim the gun at. Now the damage output per a shot, it is okay when you compare it to the other high damage output guns at this tier area. 240 on average with 7 rounds per a minute. You can easily reduce a full hit point tank down to 0 if you continuously track them. With the amazing accuracy and aiming time that this gun does have to offer you, you can hit the enemy tank most of the time, aim in onto the tank quickly enough, and then fire the shot. This gun, you will not have the problem when the reload time is faster than the aiming time. The reload time, it is pretty good. It's just underneath 9 seconds per a shot with a pretty good gun traverse, 25 degrees. The gun depression, it is fantastic, 10 degrees downward, so you can hill fight with this if you need be, or poke over a hill quickly, shoot, and then fall backwards. 12 upward, it is okay. Now the gun traverse limit, it is 15 to the left and 15 to the right, so it's not that great nor bad. Now, when it comes to the vehicle's survival ability, it is completely rubbish. 580 hit points. You can be killed easily enough if you're at the wrong place at the wrong time, or potentially be one-shotted by enemy howitzers as they fire HE at you, and they will most likely one-shot you due to the thin armor that you have, 15 in the front, 10 to the side and rear, so everything can penetrate you easily enough. Due to the thin armor in the front, side and rear, the crew members and modules, they can be damaged easily enough, so be careful when you're playing this tank quite aggressively. Now, when it comes to the mobility of the tank, it is pretty mobile for weighing just about 11 tons. With the top engine of 215 horsepower, you will have about 19 horsepower to 1 ton. That means when you are on flat terrain, going downhill, or just going in a straight line in general, you can easily reach up to 60 kilometers pretty quickly. With the reverse speed of 20, you can get out of a pretty bad situation quickly enough and flee if you have the opportunity to do so. I would like also to add, this vehicle, in certain situations, it can be a okay improvised passive or active scout at times, based upon what is going on at the time. The hold reverse is pretty good at 33, so this tank can turn around in a hurry if if you have to shoot at a would-be flanking tank. Now, the vehicle concealment. It is fantastic when you have the camouflage perk, the camouflage net added onto the tank here. When I am not moving, it is about 47 with the bonuses added on. When on the move, it is 19. This vehicle, as long as you are not moving and behind bushes or would-be camouflage, you can remain off of the enemy radar for a good amount of time and be a pretty good passive scout that way, just like the E25 in a way. Now, the vehicle spotting. The view range with the modifiers that I have here, and the binocular telescope being used as well. It is about 413, which is pretty good. The radio range, it is 615. So the signal range and the view range, it could be better, it could be worse at this tier. Now, I will be covering the research part of the tank now. The research for the IKV 6502, it's a easy tank to go through, as you will just have to research the top gun to get to the IKV 90B, which I will do a review for that TD in the future when I am done with that tank. To mount all of the equipment onto the tank here, you will have to get the top pair of tracks. From the first pair of tracks to the second pair, with the better load limit that you have a slightly better hull traverse from 30 to 32. So just for the better hull traverse speed, get the top pair of tracks for that reason alone. Now, the engines. You have two to use. They are only usable on this TD only. If you're just going through this TD ASAP, it is quite viable for you just to use the first engine throughout the entire grind. You will have a good enough horsepower to ton ratio still, with 190 horsepower, but if you want to have a slightly better horsepower to ton ratio, unlock and use the top engine. This 215 horsepower engine, it does make a bit of a difference when it comes to the acceleration of the tank when you have to get from location A to B quickly or get out of a bad situation in a hurry. Now, the radios. You have 3 to use. You would have them unlocked already, as they are usable up to this point already. The RA100, the 105, and the RA146. You will begin off with the first 2 engine radios unlocked already, the RA100 and 105. So use the RA105 radio until you get the necessary experience to unlock, and use the top radio, the 615 meter signal range radio here, the RA146 radio. This radio, it is transferable to the IKV 90B and the UDES 03 as well. So unlock and use the top radio right away, as unlocking this radio now, it will help with a bit of the grind when you get to the next TD in the lineup. Now, the guns themselves. You have 2 to use. Both of them have roughly the same stats, except for the buffers. L53 gun have slightly better stats when it comes to the penetration value, the accuracy, and the aiming time. The only difference between the two guns is the reduced rate of fire, but you have a better penetration value compared to the L43 gun. You will use the L43 gun until you get the L53 gun unlocked. My experience using the L43 gun is that it's a good gun still, but due to the penetration value that the gun it have, you will have a problem penetrating enemy tank armor at times, unless if you can penetrate a part of the armor that you can penetrate easily enough. So, in certain situations, you may have to use heat if you're going up against a heavily armored target that you cannot flank or have a problem shooting as the said weak spot. Heat would work in that situation well enough. If not, if you have to use AP, try to flank the vehicle side or rear armor from a distance and shoot at that part of the armor then. Besides that, use heat. Now, when you get to the L53 gun, the penetration value is pretty good, 180. As I mentioned before, you can penetrate most of the tank armor that you will be going up against easily enough with AP or heat, as long as you know the vehicle weak spot. The penetration value for HE, it's not that great nor bad, but it's only useful against uh, the light vehicles that you will be going up against, such as the IKV here. To get to the IKV 90 Type B, you will have to get about 62,000 experience points and just underneath 1.5 million credits. Now, I will be covering the consumables, the ammunition layout, the equipment, and how are you going to be using the IKV 6502. Let's begin off with the consumables. Consumables, I would go with a first aid kit, a repair kit, and a manual fire extinguisher. The ammunition count, you have a lot of ammo, 40 rounds, so you will never run out of ammo in a match for this tank. The two main ammo types you will be using, it is AP and heat. I would have at minimum 20 AP rounds and 10 heat rounds. Most of the time you will be shooting AP and will be penetrating the enemy tank most of the time, but I would only save the heat rounds in certain situations when you need to absolutely pen something, or if you are going up against a heavily armored target that you will have a problem penetrating with regular AP. Heat will cost you 4,000 gold, or 4,000 credits, or 10 gold. HE, it is one of those useful ammo types still, that you can do a good amount of damage still, when you are going up against artillery, light tanks, and other Swedish TDs as well. The equipment that I went with the medium caliber tank gun rammer, camouflage net, and a binocular telescope to improve the tank performance. The other pieces of equipment that you can use is the enhanced gun laying drive to improve what is already a good aiming time. Now, when it comes to the view range enhancement, you can go with either the coated optics or the binocular telescope to suit your personal preference. The last piece of equipment that you will be using, it is the improved ventilation class 1. This will improve the crew and the tank performance by a bit. Now, how are you going to be using the IKV 6502? As a Tier 6 TD, you will have Tier 6 matchmaking from Tier 6 up to Tier 8 maximum. This tank, when you are in a Tier 6 to a Tier 8 match, you can do quite well as long as you play to the vehicle's strengths, weaknesses, and use the appropriate tactics, mainly playing it as a medium to a long-distance sniper. The other role that the IKV 65 it is good at, being a passive scout, being a short distance to a medium distance sniper. The other role that the IKV is good at, which based upon what is going on, you may be able to get away with this play style based upon what is going on, and if you think you can take the risk and get away with it while doing quite well in the IKV still. You can play the IKV 65 as a frontline TD, as a very aggressive support frontline TD, as a flanking TD, or even as a bit of a active scout at times, based upon what is going on at the time. Besides that, you will be playing ZTD mainly as a medium to a long-distance sniper mostly. I have one replay to show you how well you can do in the IKV 6502. This replay, I will show you how well you can do in the IKV 65-2 when you are playing the vehicle as a bit of a sniper support role and going on the offensive as well. Let's speed this replay up a bit. First thing first, being mainly the long distance sniper, I head to the 129 to support my team push. I got myself to a bush where I can be a bit of a passive scout for my team besides for the E25. I wait for a bit to see something to come up. The M4 there, I am trying to line a shot onto the target there. I got some damage done there. With the M4 there, behind the rock. I wait for my team to move up so I can support them. I missed those shots as they didn't penetrate the vehicle side armor. So far, the push on the side is pretty good. I switched to mainly a very offensive slash support role now. When it comes to playing the TD as a offensive frontline support TD, you should be careful as you can be killed easily enough. Just like the E25 in a way, it can be killed easily enough if it's at the wrong place at the wrong time. Seeing we are winning, this is where I begin to play a bit more aggressively, thinking, oh, I can take the damage that these enemy tanks can inflict on me. While moving up, they have to close the distance. I did get hit, but I did damage the VK as well. This is where my youthfulness to the team comes to an end. This replay for playing somewhat aggressively. I did not do all that good nor bad, just average for the most part. I did 700 damage and about 770 damage just from assist alone. So not that bad nor good. Let's go to the garage now to do a brief recap on the IKV 65-2. Let's do a brief recap on the TD itself. The TD for ZT yourself, it is not that bad nor good. You have to remember this TD, due to the thin armor and the low amount of hit points, if you are at the wrong place at the wrong time, you can be killed easily enough. So if you want to do quite well in this TD, it is essential that you take advantage of the situation at hand and use the appropriate tactics at the right time to do quite well in this TD. Besides that, as long as you stick to the vehicle's strengths, weaknesses, and use the appropriate tactics at the right time, this is a TD that you can do quite well in, as long as you know what you are doing in the first place. I hope that you learn a thing or two about the IKV 65-2 and how to use it properly. If you like this video, leave a like, a comment, and even subscribe to my channel as well. Good luck on the battlefield, everyone!